The vast observation chamber aboard the Meridian flagship Eternal Dawn fell silent as Admiral Vexthor replayed the surveillance footage for the third time. His crystalline eyes narrowed as the holographic display showed yet another massive human shipyard emerging from the dark side of Mars, its sprawling construction bays churning out vessels at an impossible rate. "Impossible," he whispered, his scaled fingers tightening around the command podium. 6 cycles ago, they'd barely had atmospheric craft. Now this. The gathered war council shifted uncomfortably. The Meridian Empire had ruled the galaxy's Orion arm for 10,000 years, their crystalline ships and energy-based technology far surpassing any emerging civilization they'd encountered. Until now. First contact with humanity had been dismissive. Another primitive species beginning to reach for the stars. The Empire had done what they always did. Established trade restrictions, imposed technology sanctions, and positioned themselves as the benevolent overlords of yet another developing world. But humans, it seemed, hadn't followed the script. Admiral, executive strategist Lyraine stepped forward, her iridescent robes catching the starlight. The humans have not just been building ships. They've been innovating. She gestured, and new images filled the chamber. Their hull designs incorporate technologies we've never seen. Energy signatures we can't identify. Propulsion systems that defy our understanding of physics. How many vessels? The question came from the shadows, where Emperor Zarkax himself sat watching. His voice carried the weight of millennia of absolute authority. Lyraine's expression tightened. Conservative estimates suggest over 2,000 combat-capable ships, Your Eminence, with more under construction. The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Even the smallest Meridian battle fleet numbered only in the hundreds. The logistics of maintaining larger fleets had always been considered impossible. And their weapons? The Emperor pressed. Unknown capabilities. But Lyraine paused, choosing her words carefully. The test firing data we've intercepted suggests they're comparable to our own. Perhaps even superior in some aspects. Admiral Vexthor slammed his fist down, sending ripples through the holographic display. Superior to Meridian technology. Absurd. We've guided the evolution of warfare for 10,000 years. Yet there they are. The Emperor's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. He rose, his crystalline form catching the light of 1,000 stars. A species that has gone from primitive chemical rockets to a fleet that rivals our own in less than 6 cycles. The question is not how they did it, but what we do about it. Deep in human space, aboard the United Earth Defense Force Command Station Prometheus, Admiral Sarah Chen studied a different set of holographic displays. They showed the movements of Meridian scout ships, their patterns increasingly frantic as they discovered more of humanity's carefully hidden shipyards. They're rattled. Her XO, Commander David Rodriguez, noted with satisfaction. All that superiority, all that confidence, gone the moment they realized we weren't playing by their rules. Chen nodded, a slight smile playing at her lips. Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to adapt, to innovate. While they were busy trying to keep us contained, we were learning from every scrap of technology they let slip through their fingers. The holographic display shifted, showing the pride of human engineering. The Defiance-class battleships. Nearly 2 kilometers of advanced alloys and revolutionary technology, they represented everything humanity had achieved in secret. Not copies of Meridian designs, but entirely new approaches to space warfare. Status of Operation Breakout? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. She'd reviewed the reports a dozen times today alone. All fleet elements in position, Rodriguez confirmed. The Meridians still think their sensor nets are functioning normally. They have no idea we've been feeding them false data for months. Chen touched a control, and the display zoomed out to show the full strategic situation. Humanity's forces were positioned perfectly, hidden in the blind spots of Meridian detection systems. Years of studying their technology had taught humans exactly where those blind spots were. They think they're coming to intimidate us, Chen mused. To put the upstart humans in their place. They have no idea they're walking into a trap generations in the making. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission from Earth Command. The message was brief, just 3 words that would change the galaxy forever. Operation Breakout approved. Chen straightened her uniform and addressed the command staff. Send the activation codes to all fleet elements. It's time to show the Meridian Empire that humanity isn't just another species to be controlled. We're their worst nightmare. A civilization that refuses to be bound by their limitations. As orders went out across human space, thousands of ships began powering up their revolutionary engines. Crews who had trained for years in secret prepared for combat. Scientists and engineers stood ready to deploy technologies that would shock their would-be oppressors. The galaxy was about to learn an important lesson. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation, especially when backed into a corner. The Meridian Empire had ruled through technological superiority for 10,000 years. That era was about to end. The Meridian border station, Crystal Sentinel, hung in space like a massive geometric jewel, its crystalline surfaces refracting starlight in dazzling patterns. For centuries, it had stood as an impregnable symbol of Meridian dominance. No unauthorized vessel had ever penetrated its defense grid. Captain Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the UEA's Shadow Runner, watching the station through specialized sensors that had taken years to perfect. Her ship, along with 5 others of the new Phantom-class vessels, remained completely invisible to Meridian detection systems. Status of the quantum interference field, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper despite knowing the Meridians couldn't hear them. Lieutenant James Wong checked his readings. Field is stable, Captain. Their sensors are still seeing exactly what we want them to see. Empty space and their own routine patrol patterns. This was humanity's greatest advantage. The ability to think beyond conventional limitations, while the Meridians had perfected their crystalline technology over millennia. Humans had discovered ways to bend quantum fields around their ships, rendering them completely undetectable. Aboard the Crystal Sentinel, High Commander Kickstall reviewed his routine reports with characteristic thoroughness. Everything appeared normal. The same patterns his people had maintained for centuries. Perfect. Predictable. Safe. The first indication that something was wrong came when 3 of his secondary power cores suddenly went dark. Impossible, he muttered, his crystalline form vibrating with confusion. Run diagnostics. Before his crew could respond, previously invisible ships materialized inside their defense perimeter. Not at the designated arrival points where any civilized species would approach, but impossible positions that defied standard combat doctrine. Multiple human vessels detected. His sensor officer shouted, panic evident in his harmonic voice. They're already inside our shields. Back on the Shadow Runner, Paddle gave the order they'd trained months for. Execute Phase 2. Let's show them how humans fight. Instead of conventional weapons, the Phantom-class ships deployed their revolutionary synaptic scramblers, devices that used the Meridian's own crystalline technology against them. The station's crystal structure, previously its greatest strength, became its weakness as carefully calibrated energy pulses disrupted the neural crystalline interfaces the Meridians relied on. Systems began failing across the station, not through destruction, but through carefully orchestrated confusion. Defensive arrays targeting empty space, communication crystals transmitting gibberish, even the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. How? Kickstall demanded as his command center dissolved into chaos. How are they doing this? The answer came in the form of small, agile human shuttles cutting through their now useless defense screen. Teams of specialists in advanced environmental suits magnetically attached themselves to the station's surface. Where the Meridians expected explosives or cutting tools, the humans instead deployed devices that interfaced directly with the station's crystalline structure. Sir, Wong reported to Patel, infiltration teams report success. We have control of their primary systems. Minimal casualties on either side. Patel nodded with satisfaction. This was warfare human style, not about destruction, but about outthinking the enemy. Begin broadcast on all meridian frequencies. Her voice echoed through every crystal in the station. Attention, Crystal Sentinel. Your station is now under human control. Your crew is unharmed, but your systems will remain compromised. We offer you the choice that you never gave others. Surrender with honor, or force us to demonstrate how completely we can disable your technology. In the command center, Kixtal watched helplessly as humans in environmental suits entered through airlocks his own people could no longer control. Their movements were precise, professional, and surprisingly respectful. No weapons were raised unless met with resistance. "How did you penetrate our defenses?" he asked the human team leader who approached him. The human's voice came through a translator, tinged with what seemed like genuine respect. "We studied, we adapted, and we imagined possibilities your people had never considered. That's what humans do." Within 6 hours, the most fortified Meridian border station in the sector had fallen without a single death on either side. As news spread through Meridian space, the impossible truth began to sink in. Humanity hadn't just caught up technologically. They'd found entirely new ways to wage war. On the Eternal Dawn, Emperor Zarkax received the report of Crystal Sentinel's capture with uncharacteristic silence. Finally, he turned to Admiral Vexthor. They could have destroyed the station and everyone aboard. Instead, they demonstrated something far more threatening: superiority. "Your Eminence," Vexthor began, but the Emperor cut him off. "They're not just building ships, Admiral. They're reimagining the very nature of space warfare. And they're doing it faster than we can comprehend." The Emperor's crystalline form dimmed slightly. "For the first time in 10,000 years, we face an enemy that doesn't play by our rules, because they're creating their own." As the Shadow Runner and her sister ships secured their position, Captain Patel sent a final message to Earth Command. "Phase 1 complete. The Meridians now know we can strike anywhere, at any time, without detection. The galaxy's balance of power has shifted. The real war was about to begin, and humanity had just proven they were more than ready for it." The Arcturus sector blazed with energy discharges as 2,000 ships engaged in the largest space battle in galactic history. The Meridian Grand Fleet, its crystalline vessels arranged in perfect geometric formations, faced off against the seemingly chaotic spread of human warships. Admiral Vexthor stood aboard his flagship, the Eternal Dawn, watching his carefully planned assault fall apart. Impossible. Their formations make no sense. There's no logic to their movements. But there was logic, human logic. Admiral Chen's fleet wasn't moving according to millennia-old tactical doctrines. They were moving like a swarm of angry bees, their patterns organic and unpredictable. Multiple targets approaching from Vector 7. A sensor officer called out. The massive display showed a group of human destroyers accelerating toward the Meridian line. "Predictable," Vexthor sneered. "All ships, concentrate fire." The human ships vanished, not through any stealth technology or sensor trickery. They simply ceased to exist, their energy signatures disappearing completely. Before Vexthor could process this impossibility, new alerts screamed across his command deck. Multiple human capitals emerging directly behind our third battle group. The supposedly destroyed human ships had somehow transported themselves across 30,000 kilometers of space, appearing in the perfect position to tear into the Meridian fleet's exposed flank. Aboard the UES Prometheus, Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Quantum tunneling successful. All ships report ready for Phase 2. The quantum tunneling drive was humanity's greatest secret weapon. While the Meridians had spent millennia perfecting conventional faster-than-light travel, human scientists had discovered a way to essentially copy and paste a ship from one point in space to another. The energy cost was enormous, but the tactical advantage was worth it. "Launch the resonance torpedoes," Chen ordered. "Let's show them another human innovation." The torpedoes weren't traditional weapons. They were based on a simple observation. Meridian ships were essentially giant crystals, and crystals could be shattered if you found the right frequency. As the specialized weapons impacted Meridian shields, they didn't explode. They sang. The carefully calibrated sonic weapons sent crystalline ships vibrating at their resonant frequencies. Massive vessels began to crack and splinter, their crews helpless to prevent their mighty warships from literally shaking themselves apart. "Emperor, protect us," Vex Thor whispered as he watched a third of his fleet disintegrate without a single conventional weapon being fired. How can they be doing this? But humanity wasn't done demonstrating its capacity for innovation. The next wave of human ships deployed what appeared to be simple clouds of metallic dust. The Meridians initially ignored them, until the dust began eating through their hulls. "Adaptive nanites," Commander Rodriguez explained to Chen as they watched the battle unfold, "programmed to analyze and counter any material they encounter. The Meridians can adapt their crystalline structure all they want. The nanites will just learn and adjust faster." The battle had become a showcase of human ingenuity versus Meridian tradition, where the aliens attempted to maintain their perfect formations and time-tested strategies. Human ships danced through space in patterns that looked like chaos, but were actually carefully choreographed improvisations. "Your Eminence," Vex Thor communicated directly with Emperor Zarkax, who was watching the battle from the safety of the Meridian throne world. We cannot counter their tactics. They're not fighting according to any known doctrine. Every time we adapt to one of their weapons, they unveil something new." The Emperor's response was interrupted by a new alert. Human ships had quantum tunneled directly into the heart of the Meridian formation. But instead of attacking, they broadcast a message on all frequencies. Admiral Chen's voice echoed through every crystalline ship. "This is humanity's final demonstration. We could destroy your entire fleet right now. Instead, we offer you a choice. End this war and recognize us as equals, or force us to show you every other innovation we've been holding in reserve." To emphasize her point, several human ships activated yet another new weapon. Beams of pure darkness lanced out, creating localized holes in spacetime itself. A handful of Meridian ships simply vanished into the artificial singularities. By the first crystal, Vex Thor breathed. They've weaponized space itself. The Battle of Arcturus Sector ended not with the destruction of either fleet, but with the first retreat in Meridian history. As the crystalline ships flowed into hyperspace, they left behind more than destroyed vessels. They left behind 10,000 years of absolute certainty in their superiority. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched the Meridian fleet disappear. "Send word to Earth Command. Phase 3 complete. The Meridians now understand that they can't beat us through conventional warfare." "Think they'll sue for peace?" Rodriguez asked. Chen shook her head. "Not yet. They'll try one more desperate gambit. And when that fails, they'll finally realize what we've been trying to teach them. The galaxy is big enough for multiple ways of thinking." As debris from the battle cooled in the void, humanity had proven something remarkable. In a galaxy of ancient, established powers, innovation and adaptability were more powerful than tradition and raw strength. The question was, would the Meridians learn this lesson, or would humanity need to demonstrate even more of their hidden capabilities? The answer would determine the fate of both civilizations. Emperor Zarkax stood in his sanctum deep within the crystal spire of Meridia Prime, watching holographic replays of the Battle of Arcturus. His crystalline form pulsed with dark energy, a sign of deep disturbance among his kind. 10,000 years, he whispered. 10,000 years of unchallenged dominance, undone by creatures who mere cycles ago were burning fossil fuels. The door chimed, admitting High Architect Senthil, keeper of the Empire's most closely guarded technological secrets. "Your Eminence, it is ready." In the deepest shipyards of Meridia Prime, a massive vessel took shape. Unlike the elegant crystalline designs of traditional Meridian ships, this one was twisted wrong, a violation of every principle of their civilization. The World Breaker represented the Empire's desperate attempt to match human innovation. Activate the prohibited cores, Zarkax commanded. All of them. Meanwhile, in Earth's Titan base, Admiral Chen studied new intelligence reports with growing concern. They're pulling ships back from every sector, she noted, concentrating their entire remaining fleet around their home system. Conventional logic would suggest they're preparing for a final defensive stand, Commander Rodriguez offered. Chen shook her head. When have the Meridians ever acted conventionally since this war began? No, they're planning something desperate, something that goes against their own nature. She was right. The World Breaker was an abomination by Meridian standards, a ship powered by forbidden technologies their ancestors had sealed away eons ago. Its crystal matrix was infused with dark energy, capable of ripping holes in reality itself. The humans think they understand power. Emperor Zarkax addressed his war council. Let them witness what true desperation can achieve. The World Breaker will not target their fleets or their worlds. It will target the fabric of space-time itself within their territory. Dr. Samira Patel, Earth's leading genophysicist, was the first to detect the anomaly. These readings, they're similar to our quantum tunneling technology, but twisted wrong. The Meridians aren't trying to move through space-time. They're trying to break it. In a terrible display of power, the World Breaker emerged from hyperspace near Alpha Centauri. Its crystalline surface was black as night, absorbing all light that touched it. Space itself began to warp and tear around the massive vessel. By all that's sacred, Rodriguez whispered as they watched the feed. They're trying to create a cascade failure in the quantum field. If they succeed, they'll make our entire sector of space uninhabitable. Chen finished. No more Earth, no more colonies. Just a void where human space used to be. But there was something the Meridians hadn't counted on. In their desperate rush to deploy forbidden technology, they'd forgotten humanity's greatest strength, the ability to understand and adapt to new threats in real time. Dr. Patel's voice crackled over the command channel. Admiral, the World Breaker is using principles similar to our quantum tunneling drive, just corrupted. If we can synchronize our entire fleet's drives and fire them simultaneously, we could create a quantum resonance effect. Chen finished, already seeing the possibility. Like using sound waves to shatter a glass, but on a quantum level. What followed was arguably the most ambitious coordinated maneuver in human military history. Every ship in the human fleet, scattered across light years of space, had to activate their quantum drives at exactly the same microsecond, creating a complex interference pattern in the fabric of space-time itself. The Meridians never saw it coming. As space itself began to resonate at frequencies their sensors couldn't even detect, the World Breaker's crystalline structure began to vibrate. Not just the physical crystal, but its quantum structure, its very existence in reality. Emperor Zarkax watched in horror as his ultimate weapon began to fold in on itself, caught in a quantum resonance cascade of humanity's making. Impossible. We wielded the forbidden technologies. We broke our own most sacred laws. That was your mistake. Admiral Chen's voice came through on all frequencies. You tried to break the rules. We just learned to understand them better. The World Breaker imploded in a display that defied description, taking a significant portion of the Meridian fleet with it. The violation of natural law had been countered not by greater power, but by greater understanding. As the quantum distortions settled, Admiral Chen broadcast one final message to the Meridian Empire. You tried to destroy space itself rather than accept change. We turned your own desperate gambit against you not through superior strength, but through superior understanding. Are you ready to talk now? In his sanctum, Emperor Zarkax stared at the void where his ultimate weapon had been. For the first time in 10,000 years of rule, he did something no Meridian Emperor had ever done. He laughed. Send word to the humans, he commanded. Tell them we're ready to learn. The Great Hall of Harmony on Meridia Prime had stood unchanged for 10,000 years. Today, for the first time, it hosted beings who weren't crystalline in nature. Admiral Chen stood before the Meridian High Council, her uniform crisp, her posture relaxed but alert. Emperor Zarkax's crystalline form shimmered with an iridescence that indicated deep thought. In all our history, he began, no species has ever forced us to question our fundamental assumptions about the universe, until now. The hall's walls displayed holographic recordings from the war. Human ships quantum tunneling through space, resonance weapons shattering crystalline vessels, adaptive nanites evolving in real time. But most prominently displayed was the moment the world breaker imploded, a reminder of how humanity had turned the Empire's desperate gambit into a lesson in innovation. Your civilization is younger than our shortest historical record, Admiral Vexthor observed, his earlier arrogance replaced with genuine curiosity. Yet you've achieved what we thought impossible, not by following our path, but by finding your own. Chen smiled. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to look at problems from new angles. While you perfected one approach over millennia, we explored countless possibilities. In orbit above Meridia Prime, human and Meridian ships now floated side by side. Engineers from both species were already beginning cautious collaborations. The Meridian's mastery of crystalline technology, combined with human innovation, was yielding discoveries that neither civilization could have achieved alone. We've prepared a proposal, Chen continued, activating a holographic display of her own, not for surrender or subjugation, but for partnership. Humanity has proven we can't be conquered. Now let us prove we can be excellent allies. The proposal was revolutionary, a joint exploration initiative. Human quantum drive technology combined with Meridian crystal matrices could open up previously unreachable sectors of space. Human adaptive computing paired with Meridian energy manipulation could solve problems both civilizations had struggled with for generations. And what guarantee do we have, one council member asked, that humanity won't use this partnership to gain further advantages over us? Chen's response was diplomatic but firm. The same guarantee we have that you won't return to your old ways, the understanding that we're stronger together than apart. We could have destroyed each other. Instead, we chose to learn from each other. In a gesture that shocked the council, Emperor Zarkax rose from his throne and descended to stand at eye level with Chen. His crystalline form shifted to match her height, an unprecedented show of respect from a Meridian ruler. Throughout this conflict, he said, humans have consistently shown us new possibilities. When we responded with strength, you showed greater strength. When we employed forbidden technology, you demonstrated superior understanding. Yet when given the opportunity for destruction, you chose innovation instead. The Emperor turned to address his council. The age of Meridian dominance is over. But perhaps we are witnessing the birth of something far more valuable, an age of shared discovery. The signing of the Harmony Accords marked more than just the end of the war. It represented a fundamental shift in how both civilizations viewed the galaxy and their place in it. The Meridians began to explore new applications of their crystalline technology, while humans learned to refine and perfect their rapid innovations. 1 year later, the first joint human-Meridian expedition ship, the Convergence, prepared to launch. Its hull was a revolutionary combination of traditional Meridian crystal and human adaptive materials. Its engines merged quantum tunneling technology with crystalline energy manipulation. Its crew represented the best of both species. Captain Maya Patel, now commanding the Convergence, stood on her bridge looking at her mixed crew. Human officers worked seamlessly alongside Meridian specialists, each bringing their unique perspectives to their shared mission. Ready to make history? She asked her first officer, a young Meridian named Lyrton, whose crystalline form pulsed with excitement. I believe, Captain, he replied, that making history is what humans do best, and perhaps now, it's something we can do together. As the Convergence prepared to jump into unexplored space, Admiral Chen watched from Earth Command. The ship represented everything humanity had fought for, not victory through destruction, but progress through innovation and collaboration. They finally understood. She mused to Commander Rodriguez, who had stayed by her side through the entire conflict. We never wanted to defeat them. We wanted to show them there was a better way. And now? Rodriguez asked. Chen smiled as the Convergence activated its hybrid drive, creating a quantum tunnel wrapped in crystalline energy, a feat neither civilization could have achieved alone. Now we explore the galaxy together, not as rulers and subjects, but as equals, each bringing our own strengths, each learning from the other. The war had ended not with the submission of either side, but with the realization that the universe was far too vast and wonderful for any one approach to be sufficient. The Meridians had learned to embrace change, while humanity had gained the wisdom of an ancient civilization. Together, they looked to the stars not with thoughts of dominion, but with shared curiosity about what new discoveries awaited them. The age of isolation was over. The age of innovation had begun.